Welcome to the Free River Valley series for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. We're picking up on the 6th of January 1936, and the game's on pause for a reason which I'll explain in a little while. But before that, as usual, a big thank you for your comments and feedback. You guys give me a lot to think about. Now, I did get a comment about actually calculating the resources I needed, and I'll be completely upfront. When I'm first starting out, I don't really worry too much about min-maxing and getting all the maximum resources. My focus is very much on getting a self-sufficient economy with minimum cost. And this is one of the reasons why I use mods, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But to give you a bit of an update, I've got a single farm down here. And you can see we've got a maximum storage capacity of, well, you can say 3,500. Add on another one, so you can say we've got maximum storage about 5,000. Now, I did do the maths on my industries up here with related crops, and if you add up all the buildings, the biofuel, the fabric production, and the alcohol and the food, it comes to a daily requirement of 47 tons a day at maximum production. Now, there's two things about that. The first one is that when you first start out, because of productivity, you're not really ever going to get maximum production out of any of these buildings. One, because you've got don't have enough staff. You can see the odds of us getting 25 people in here producing fuel is pretty remote. I mean, it can happen later on in the game. And then the second reason is that if I multiply that with 365 days in the year, that means I would need to produce 17,000 tons of crops, so 3 times the amount that I'm producing at the moment. And I think this is one of the important things that you need, especially with early starts, is don't worry too much about maximum efficiency. As long as you're supplying your economy and working towards self-sufficiency, that is good enough. The mass element and getting min-maxes comes once you get out and you've got momentum, you've got some income, and you start building purpose-built cities. And I think that's also a good segue into another comment I got, was about the fact that I'm able to make money and rebuild my funds and not borrow money, probably more importantly, so early in the game. And the key is think small and work towards self-sufficiency. Don't put all your eggs in one basket and say, well, if I build a massive food industry and try and export it, because one, you won't get the population to drive that big food factory, and two, if you've got self-sufficiency and cut your costs down, that means that you can make money from a relatively small industry. Now, I know that many people say, oh, well, you know, if you're starting in 1960, you should start vanilla, especially in realistic mode. Well, my personal opinion is that worked when the game first came out back over a year ago. And I remember starting in 1960 with all the standard buildings with 1,000,000 rubles. And because you didn't have to put all the extra services in, it worked. You could do it. Now, the game has got to a point with all the extra services, and I think even the devs have recognized this, that the game needs smaller versions of certain buildings. I mean, probably a good example is like education. Where is it? I mean, you definitely need a university, but I mean, these universities are just way too big. They take too much resources, so you can't really build these large buildings successfully, including like the radio station, from the get-go with 1,000,000 rubles in reserve, unless of course you borrow lots and lots of money and then go into debt. To me, that breaks the immersion for me. But on the positive side, the devs seem to have recognized this, and I can't remember which dev diary they mentioned it in, but they said that possibly in the next update they will be looking at bringing in smaller versions, possibly from the mod community, to be added to the base game. I'm really looking forward to that, and if they do it, what I will be doing is possibly a 1960 start using those small buildings, and we'll try and do it within just using the vanilla buildings, but that's all for the future. Anyway, so let's just get down to why the game is on pause. And the reason for that is that if you watched the previous part, you would be aware that I built this sewage line all the way through here to here, but what I've been doing through the winter, if I come and click here, you can see we're now starting to build this. And the reason I'm kind of focusing very much on this sewage line. And for some reason, the game is being a bit icky sticky. Oh, that's a bad example. Is that during the winter, my sewage system started to fail. Is probably the polite way of saying it. You can see that we got 62% in there. I think there's a couple of buildings up here, and there's 27% in there. So I'm just kind of lining these up a little bit because I want to confirm that they've got 51% in there. So we just put these here, and so what I want to do is build this sewage outfall here. It shouldn't take long. We've got the workforce. We just need a few more bits and pieces. So we're just going to let the game run fast and see if we can get this built. So I may cut this because this is the one thing I want to focus on. Well, to begin with anyway, because I want to see that this sewage drain out. While that's actually happening, I'll just talk about what problems I had actually. If I drag these down here, you see that my happiness dropped quite considerably. And the reason for that is that because the sewage started to back up, I started to get health problems. And if we come into here, if I show the health, see the health dropped quite dramatically in, say, like this block here, which is one of the ones that I think is a bit backed up. So my health dropped, and that meant my population also stagnated and dropped as well, which meant that things didn't go according to plan. That people got through it and survived it. There's no point pretending otherwise. They did do that, but what didn't quite go according to plan. In fact, let me just minimize this. It's something to be aware of, that when the snow comes out, especially when you've got very slow vehicles, that causes problems as well. So what I'm hoping is that if we get this built, just need one more load of steel to turn up and get delivered. Looks like we got the steel now, so we're getting there. Oops. So we're just gonna drag these up into position. I just want to make sure that I've actually got the connection, because what should happen is that when that finishes, these should drain out very, very quickly. What I've actually done through the winter is I've done absolutely minimal building, so that because another problem I had, which kind of compounded the problems I had with the sewage, is I was still getting fluctuating power in the power station. We also got a little bit of a food shortage here. It's building back up again, partly due to the fact that we have the snow was slowing up the delivery of crops. Got a new vehicle type as well. We've got the boards. We just need someone to deliver it. Okay, looks like the boards have just arrived. This is the reason why I've started so early with snow on the ground. There we go. There we are. The sewage doth flow, and we're down to 5%. I've noticed when I've monitored sewage, it tends to stick around 5%. What I think the game does is in this little thing here, is that it builds up and then it discharges. It doesn't discharge continuously. It kind of discharges in pulses. But that means we've now got an outflow from here, and we're kind of dropping the sewage from here. So you can see the discharge here. So it's because the town's relatively small, but it did become a bit of a problem. But of course, we're still going to need to put some sewage into here. You can see when the truck comes, it will discharge to here straight away. It's a bit strange in that way. Anyway, so that's the situation at the moment, and we are still accumulating some cash. As far as I know, we've got no more buildings in function. Now, I also got a comment about pavers, and I actually looked up the history of the use of asphalt, and I was quite surprised actually. I knew asphalt was around in the 1870s because it was used in, I think the first modern asphalt road was laid in Paris in about 1856, and then I think they was also used in think in New York or somewhere, or Pennsylvania, somewhere in Pennsylvania, I think, in 1870. But of course, in those days, the asphalt was actually laid by hand. And I think also Thomas Telford used it as a surface treatment to keep dust down in the 18... Well, I can't remember when Thomas Telford was building roads. I think it was quite some time ago anyway. For anyone who's not familiar with British history, Thomas Telford was quite a prominent engineer, and he built toll roads to improve the movement of traffic around the Britain at the time. But the first paver was actually, I think the first paver was actually designed in 1929 in the US, but it wasn't patented until about 1930 something or other. I think it was 35 or 36. But as was pointed out in the comments, the real extensive use of asphalt was triggered by the Second World War, mainly for airfields to support the large bombers. I think it was the B-52s that were used. So in some ways, our little diggy crew here, but my main kind of, as I mentioned in the previous video, is rollers, because I know rollers in this game are only used for asphalt, but the original compacting rollers go right back to the days of steam traction engines, because that's one of my favorite traction engines actually, is the old big steam rollers with the big ball on the front. But even later on, that you started to get the roller. I mean, I could be quite happily live with the asphalt crew, but I just miss the roller, because it was fundamental. But in fact, I think if you go back far enough, as is represented in the game, you have a horse-drawn roller. Anyway, I've rabbled on long enough. We need to get down to what I was meant to be talking about, which is that we're still trying to get this road done. You can see at the moment, I've actually switched this road off. So what I'm going to do is we're going to actually, no, I'm going to put the, where's our, I think they've got all the gravel, they've got all the asphalt. So what we need is the Tri Valley buses on this. The only thing that we really need, because there's no point bringing any trucks down here. I've got a project here because I've got an idea to try and come up with a permanent solution to this power station. But I want to do that once the snow is gone. What we got here, I think we can, because another problem I did get was fluctuating heat. So I think during the snow we're going to make a start on this heat exchanger to try and get that put together. Something else I'd like to do in this part is maybe start to put together the gravel production here, and also possibly design the town down here. I'm not sure where I'd like to put the town. I'm kind of a bit inclined to push the town out into this area, because, oops, sorry. Because what I'm half thinking is a cableway, but I don't want it to be too long, to take the workers up to here to produce the coal. Because again, the similar problem I've got on the top town with getting the workers to the power station. I want to make sure that the workers aren't dependent on buses, because at the early start, buses are just so slow and irregular. So I think, and again, I think this is one of the top tips when you do early start. Always consider the option of letting workers walk to your key buildings, even if it means a risk of a little bit of pollution. It just makes such a big difference if they can walk there, because if you put in, actually we got some new, we've got, yeah, I've missed these vehicle types as well. That's a Russian one. I don't know what that is, but that looks very much like we've now got our first excavator. Because I was a little bit early. I knew it came in 1936, but just minimize that. Right, we're just going to look at here. Bulldozer. There we are. We got a bulldozer excavator. It's not going to win any awards for speed, but it's 40 kilometers an hour, and you can see that it bulldozes at speed 5 and excavates at speed 15. Let me just come. So we've now got our first kind of road excavator, which we can actually start to use. Not exactly sure what that actually is, and my Russian. It's a RT6. It's actually a road crane, so so it's not exactly a vehicle that I wanted to use, but it's speed 15. It's going to be faster than the road cranes we've had before, and it's got a top speed of 40 kilometers an hour. So it's not exactly going to be fast, but that could be a good investment because that could actually help speed up some of the buildings. I'm not sure if I've actually got a road crane, actually, come to think of it. Let me just see if we actually, probably the easiest way would be to get a list of the buildings. Now I'm not seeing a road crane in here. We've got 3 excavators, three fire trucks. We're going to need to think about a fire truck. We've got 3 bulldozers, loads of buses, more buses than we probably need, but covered hole. We've got loads of covered holes. Wow. Yeah, we haven't got a road crane just at the moment. I'm kind of thinking, where's our excavator? Curious. I'm kind of thinking maybe we can buy and assign you to the excavators up to here. Actually, we could get an excavator in here just because I want to see how it goes. So we bring in an excavator and a road crane. Get these into here just so we can take a look at them. Here it is, like a kind of excavator mounted on the back of a truck. This one's like a similar version. Can't get in any closer, with like a crane on the back. So and that would be a fairly big step forward with our construction. So the moment we got our single excavator. Of course, our other excavators are trapped down here, which I'm now a little bit more relaxed about, simply because if this burns down and we lose these excavators, it's not such a big issue, because while these are good and they're quite slow, so we are moving forward. We just need to get this road built. Because it's kind of blocking everything out the way at the moment. Let's see if the health is improving. Yeah, let's have a look round and see. Not brilliant, but then I think you'll probably find we've got a history of alcohol abuse in here as well. 6-7%, because it's very close. Because they've got 2 options for alcohol now. Yes, without service. We're still kind of struggling with the thing, but let's have a look at whether last month. Yeah, we made a little bit from tourism. This month, again, it's not going to win any awards, but more importantly at the moment, our exports are actually covering the our costs, which is the key factor. The big success is actually here, because we're actually getting quite a lot of fuel coming in here. I can't remember now. I think I suspended this. I think what we can do is get this built, because the pipeline is now built. It should be built. It's a bit strange, but I think it is. Yeah, it is connected, isn't it? I think it's just because it's up a steep slope there, it's got a bit of a problem. It comes above ground. I think if we can finish this off, that will make a big difference as well. And of course, we've now got our thing. And of course, the other thing we're going to need to concentrate on is the water pipe. Now, the water pipe's going to be a little bit more It's not that bad. I think at the moment we're just going to let this job get finished, and we'll let this go here. This is moving forward. It's got the steel in it. It just needs some bricks and boards. The power station is working reasonably well. We really need some more workers in here, but as I said, I've got a solution for this, but I'm going to leave it until the snow's gone. I'll give you a bit of a kind of pre-warning. What I want to do is see if I can get an underpass. Well, I can do the first bit. We can do that, can't we? What I'd like to do is put you there. I'm going to assign you to the diggy crew. Then what I'd like, if possible, is to get an underpass possibly up through here, or so the idea is that when we build this block, because if I show you this block, this guy can get out this far to these buildings here. So in theory, if I build an underpass here which can connect up to here, what we should there be able to do is the workers from here should be able to walk to the coal-fired power station. That will then mean that I won't be so dependent on buses during the winter. It also opens up the possibility that if we can come in here, is that we could possibly put a footpath in there and then we can open up the brickworks here and start producing some bricks. The big issue with the bricks is going to be the fact that this is not really producing the amount of coal that I was hoping for. So that's it there. We're on the 18th of February, so we are going to get to where we're going to go. What we got here? Right, we've now finished this, and of course we're going to tell it to store fuel. Now, the problem we're going to have now is actually picking up the surplus we got, because this is going to need to fill up with fuel to pick up the truck. I think what we're going to do is one of these is exporting fuel. This one, we're going to move you to there. This might hurt my economy in the short term. Remove you there, and we're going to set this to, this holds 300 tons. We set this at 10%. I think that will be enough, because this is not going to, this is producing enough fuel, and what we'll do is we'll leave the normal tankers picking up from here, and then what will happen is, should happen is that I don't know, these guys are, it's actually flowing into this thing. So this is actually a common store, isn't it? I think what we will do is, oh, we're actually coming out of winter now, which is good. I think we're going to set you up as the pickup. You can pick up any fuel, and we'll just remove you from the biofuel plant there. What that will mean is that these guys will get more better access. The other thing I'm also considering is that we can't asphalt this, but I am starting to thinking about asphalting these roads as well, and possibly this road as well, because at the moment these trucks here, I know they only do 50 kilometers an hour, so there's not much benefit in doing that. We're still pushing up the thing here, but again, we're going to keep an eye on the crops here with respect to what's going on. So we got this little, yeah, it looks like we just had a pickup here, so we're going to need to keep an eye on this. Of course, the more vehicles we've got, the more fuel we're burning, so that's something else we need to consider, but we're okay. Right, we've now got rid of the snow, and what I'd like to do is put a footpath in. I'm kind of inclined to go tunnel. I'm not. This is the tunnel because we're on a bit of a slope here. I don't. I'm pretty sure we can't go under a building, and we could put it there. We could put it here actually. That should. We could, because we've got a footpath connection there, and that's only one connection. So say we put it there, and possibly about there. Underground. Go on, you can do this game. Yep, wow, good, great, haha. And we're gonna hook that to there. That's hooked to there. That's hooked to there. We're gonna get our diggy crew there, there, there. And hopefully that will allow us to send workers to here, or workers will be able to find their way there. It'd be the better description. Right, this is now built. So the next thing we're going to do is come here, 1, 3. Going to build the water in sections. I don't want to overload the system. Yeah, you've got a footpath there, that's good. How's the... Oh. I see someone lost. No, he obviously got a little bit lost. This, right, so we've still got 244 days. This is going to be a real pain. I would like to asphalt further, but we got to do this section. I feel, because this is too rough to make a connection. So what we got to build here, but it's kind of slowing up everything that we're doing at the moment. But I feel it's just got to be done. We need for here 8 tons of steel. We need to keep an eye on the accommodation over here as well, because this is filling up a little bit. I don't know why these guys have got problems with culture, but I mean, the population is building. I think someone did post a comment saying that I actually needed about 3 or 4% unemployment, and I'd love to get there, but at the moment things are like, as the population grows, the whole population growth is absorbed, and I'd like to get to having a surplus population, i.e. some unemployment and some over 21s by 1938. So we've got about 2 years to go in order to get that actually set up and running. I must admit, these little diggy crews are pretty efficient in their own way. That one may be a bit of a problem, so what we may need to do is... Oh no, he's delivered one. Yeah, here goes the boys. I mean, it's a pretty cool animation, actually. And I'm aware that this probably isn't the most exciting video because don't seem to be doing very much, but sometimes this is what I like doing, is just letting the game run and just letting them follow, you know, just look at what's going on, looking at the vehicles. And I mean, there's some pretty cool vehicles in the when you do an early start. I find that when you play vanilla and you've got the modern vehicles, they can start to look a bit bland, but it's quite fun actually. Back to what we're meant to be doing. So the farms are running again. The fields are out here. Got a feeling that again this year we may have to dump off some more crops, although we are getting through them a little bit quicker than before. Just want to make sure Yeah, we've got plenty of there. The fuel is slowly building up. What was it, 10%? So this has to get over 30 tons. But of course, once it gets past 30 tons, these trucks will descend on it and wander off with about 7.5 tons of crops. Not crops. Things. So we need to fix the water problems now. Have a quick look at here. Yeah, we've got no build up there. It's flowing quite nicely. This is still stuck at 44. Yeah, so we're not really dumping vast amounts, but it was just the fact that the trucks couldn't keep up anymore in the winter. Of course, this guy's going to sit here a lot longer now, because what's going to happen is, because you've got to remember, this doesn't cover the whole area, so we're still going to need to these guys here. So I wonder whether these guys have actually got the range, because I'm a bit worried about that. Put them to 3,000 now. This is 73%. This is not good. But it might take the trucks a little while to work out that they've got. How's the sewage up here? Yeah, I think they're just taking a little while to pick up. Plus the fact they don't have a massive capacity, so it's possible that, because this is all, yeah, well, see, he's got in there and emptied it now. So right, we've now built this footpath, so what we can do is we need to build the ends now. This shouldn't take long. It's only small amounts, so we'll get the crews in here to build this. How are we doing? I'm wondering, where is the opposite end of this? It's up here, isn't it? Is it? It's got to be here somewhere. Oh, it's over there. And what do we need here? I think maybe we'll get that built as well. Just get that built in. The risk with building this, actually no, we'll cancel that, because the risk is that if we build this first, what will happen is that these buildings will expect water from there, and the trucks will deliver water to the actual water substation, which has got limited capacity. So it's better to build the pipes first and then build the substation last. And then what that should do is fill in the... So yeah, we're going to just do that and let things run. Road over here. You finished yet? 155 days to go. Painful, painful, painful. Don't know. What could these guys get? I think even with the pedestrian underway, they may not get that way. Oh, they might do it a pinch, but then they'd have to come up and come back this way. This building here is assigned to the clothes production, so we may have to... This one is freebasing, but what we can do is bring this one online as well once these fill up. Tourists don't have food. Okay, so this isn't really working that well, but that's okay. It's not a problem. You've got meat, you've got food, you've got electronics. Let me just check in here. Yep. And we've fixed the sewage problem, which means I'm very happy. And you can see now that the health is slowly improving now, because we're getting better coverage, which means we should be getting... Our happiness is back to 81%. Our loyalty is still at 30. Oh, no. We got our first 40% average. So we're actually getting people over... We probably haven't got enough over 40%. Kind of... What we got here? 38%. Let's have a look. Just put that on like that. Got 39% there. So we're creeping towards 40%, and I think probably there's no point at the moment allocating this to 40% because we won't. The question is whether my instinct is to go this one because it's got a smaller workforce. So I think once we've got to a certain point, we can start getting the 40%. Yeah, I think that will work. So we got that now. Have a look at food, 100%, 88%. Obviously the hotel's not a problem. Sports, 91%. Alcohol abuse is getting a little bit grim. We may need to improve our health cover. Culture is pretty good in its own way. It's in the mid to higher 90s. Let's have a look at crime. Wow, it's crime non-existent. A little bit of minor crime. Got a bit of major crime there. So it looks like we're kind of on top of the crime now. I think that's because we're now getting a consistent workforce in there. We're still getting escaped prisoners because we still don't have the people there. But prisoners are... Oh, we got some of them 0. We are getting a little bit more loyalty amongst the prisoners. And we are processing the crimes and sending them to prison. So, we are getting there. How's the fuel? 29%. So have we actually exported any fuel in the last month? Yep, wow. I think I might need a bigger reserve. I think what we will do is, where's the guy? Picking up. It's only the one truck, but I think we're going to push you to 15%. What I'd like to do is build up a reserve here of, say, about 50 or 60 tons, because that will mean that if we get any worker problems here, we'll have a reserve here which will keep things going. Yeah, the fuel trucks will be delivering out to here. These guys are... I mean, these guys are keeping up with the supply of crops. I think I'm tempted. They're still on the main silo at the moment, which is this one. So we're still not burning through the crops that quickly, but we are keeping everything supplied here. It's good. And I think if we can get to, say, early June, and we still got crops in the silos, that's when we're going to start selling off the surplus again, and we'll make some more dollars. We're not doing too bad. We're up over 700,000. My target is 1 million rubles by 1938, so that we can start planning our area up here. Actually, I just had a thought. Just check the road on the way through. 47 days. I am wondering... let me just look at this. We built this little bit here. I just want to look at something. We need a 3 depot. We put a 3 depot here. We got 2 out of 17. We're going to need a depot here. We're going to need a 3 construction office. 5 out of 7, so we're going to have to try and free up some construction offices. We need a 3 construction office. We're going to need a 3 distribution office. It's going to be a bit tight. there. Oh, we got our first paver. I think that's a paver. We'll look at that in a minute. And so we got a depot, a construction office there, and we're going to need a free gas station. I think I'd be inclined to put the gas station. No, actually, we'll put them all in a nice, neat little row here. The reason I'm doing this is that you watched the first video where I gravelled this entrance road. So it just occurred to me that we might be able to kind of get a little bit ahead of the curve. But to do that, we'd need an aggregate store. Okay, sorry. Aggregate store. Need that. It's the free aggregate store. We could probably put the aggregate store. Yeah, I think, no, we could put the aggregate store about there so that this doesn't get congested. Put the aggregate store there. What we'll have to do is first import enough aggregate to gravel that bit of road there. So maybe when we get to around next year, we'll start actually graveling these roads using just the excavators, because we've now got an excavator. Anyway, let's just get back to here. Wow, that was a bit low level flying. Now we've now got our first paver. It's going to cost 12,000. Actually, it's a Barber Green. Sorry guys, I've just got to look at something. This is actually the first commercial paver that was ever patented, and that was actually done in 1936. Fascinating. I'm very tempted to buy it for historical reference, to be honest. It's going to blow virtually all my dollars, but the problem we're going to have is that if I come in here and we click on it and go here, the only thing that will carry it is a Mack AC tractor, and or a lowboy, which is 42. But it'd still be faster than we got a heavy steam hauler, which is 30. Yeah, so we got no Soviet truck though, so we'd have to get 12,000 to haul it. What's the top speed of this, of the 8 kilometers an hour? So it's gonna have to sit there for a little while. That's a bit of a mistake, but if we make some money, because there's absolutely no kind of advantage in putting that in on the road at 8 kilometers an hour. I mean, it would speed up things, but it would also cause a lot of problems here. So through here, we got space here for it, so we could put some stuff in there. I've just noticed that that doesn't have any. Actually, no, I don't want to put fuel in there because this is a free one. Right. These, how are these going? Yeah, these are being built. That's good. It looks very much like we've actually built this. So what we're going to do is we're going to build this. Okay, I'm starting to run out of time on the video, but I would love to finish this. But there's no crew on it. Again, this is the problem. I've got a shortage of workers. And we've got 45 tons in here. Is good. Means we're exporting. He's carrying 6 tons to the border. Good. Which means we're. How much are we making? We made 48,000 last month. So the fuel is taking over as our primary export, but if I can get the water in. The other thing I also need, tons of coal. Really got to keep an eye on this gravel as well. How's the population? I think probably one of the next things we need to build. We need to get the heating done by winter, so that we can guarantee the heating on this side of the map. It also allows us to expand in this direction. View the steam crusher. finish plumbing. Okay. I think you are the steam crane as a where these guys obviously are low down the list. Right, we've got the resources, we just need the workforce in here now. Get this built. That's being built. This is being built. I think this will make a big difference for the winter, especially once we got this block built. How's the workforce? Still struggling a little bit with the workforce. It still says the average is 38%. It's just 30. So we've got one above 40, above 40. These got an average of 41%. Not sure why those guys are getting so loyal, but I'll take it. 38%, 39%. We've got that power supply problem again. But I think it's getting a little bit more consistent now. 3 tons of fuel. I think what I will do is we're just going to push that to... We've got last chance to buy. Maybe that's a bit too much. We're just going to push this to 20% now. I know some of you would say that I'm microing, but I just want to just let things build up slowly. I think this is one of the things, especially with an early start, you've got to have that attention to detail. You can't really leave things for just an arbitrary purpose. Oh, what we got here? Enabling Barford. We've got a roller. We've got a roller. I'm pretty sure enabling Barford is a... Yes, we've got a roller. We got a NATO roller. I wasn't aware that there was I had a roller there. I thought the first roller was like 1955. Again, this is NATO. I think the first Soviet roller. I think if we can get the paver and roller functioning, so we are definitely going to be selling the crops in June to try and get that roller, because it would just make a vast difference with, because what we'll be able to do then is push through and get all this done. I'm kind of a bit inclined actually to create a special road crew construction office now. In fact, I think I will do it, because I think if we mix it with these guys, we're gonna waste that advantage we've had, because getting the paver and the roller for road construction will be a bit of a waste if these dig crews. So I think what we're gonna do is come in here. Where's the construction office? We're gonna get a very cheap construction office. Gonna put you there. Gonna just mud road it, and we're gonna get that built. And we're gonna call you High View road crew. What we'll do is we'll build this here. They can do the asphalting and everything through here. Get this, and what we'll probably do is asphalt this main road and up here, and asphalt down to there. And then eventually what we'll do is we'll move the road crew down into this area, and that should, and of course, it'd be really great if we could send them up north here, but they're not going to do it. They'll run out of fuel halfway, and then it'd be just a waste of time. I think if we can get the main roads asphalted here, that means we can then work on building that bridge. and what that will do is give us a solid infrastructure to get the distance work done. I mean, obviously, well, I'm not going to go in here and asphalt everything from the get-go. This will probably stay gravel for a long time. If I can get this asphalted, this road asphalted, don't need that asphalted, all the way down to here, because another project I've got in mind is to come down into here, because we've got coal down here, we've got iron on the other side of the river. So I mean, I won't put the roads in just yet. Well, we could put the roads in. Let's just no, I'm getting distracted, guys. Maybe in the next part we'll do a little bit of design down here with respect to getting some iron, some steel production down here, or very minimal producing coal and iron, which we can then possibly ship through. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? And then we could ship that through this channel here, possibly up to here. In fact, that might be an option, because we got no real coal. So if I could get that large coal field online first, the trouble is the banks are high on this side. If we could get a small town down here, get some coal production, just have a look at the quality of the coal here. Yeah, I mean 86%, 90%, 88%. So we could get, I mean, we could get 1, 2, possibly 3 high production coal mines in this area, although that would need a really big town to support it. But even if we only had one down here with a coal processing plant, and then if we could ship that coal across the map to begin with, that is something that can be really worth doing. Anyway, guys, this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you found it interesting. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.